Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
We are talking about all the recalls and all the different things that were going on in the business, and these poor guys, these poor downtrodden guys that had to steal these Dodge Hellcats and stuff and go fast. 11 of them are in jail now. I can't believe the guy's showroom got broken into 3 times, Charles. That's just unheard of. I got a little story here that's liable to spark a controversy or two, but it's too bad. I'm not happy, and you need to hear this because I'm not buying it. Retailers grappled in their latest quarters with many factors impacting used vehicle businesses. Tighter availability of late model used vehicle inventory, higher acquisition activity at wholesale auctions by rental car companies, and increased consumer demand for affordable vehicles. All those are there. Yes, they are. Used vehicle only retailers and some of the 6 publicly traded dealership groups in their latest quarters said they favored boosting gross profit per vehicle. The gross profit per used vehicle they retailed and not necessarily growing their sales volume. Well, I can understand that because the cars are hard to come by, but for used retail giant CarMax Inc., keeping gross profit per vehicle stable was a priority. CEO Bill Nash said last month, online used vehicle retailers Carvana and Vroom, I never knew much about Vroom, Charles, also said they swapped sales volume growth, which they chased as the e-commerce used vehicle market heated up in 2020 and 2021, to work on improving per vehicle gross profits. I'm going to tell you I'm not in favor of this. I'm going to tell you that I think it's bunk. I think they're spoiled from the pandemic and all the bad economy that's going on around here. And all this could be settled real easily. But no, instead of building a clientele and selling a lot of cars, as many as they can, they're going for, again, the highest profit. And we talked about this. I told you, in 2021, the Automobile Dealers Association reported the number 1 year for gross profit, not for sales. Had nothing to do with sales, not volume. It's gross profit per vehicle. What does that mean? That means potentially you're going to pay more than that car is actually worth. You're going to pay what the market will bear. You're going to pay what, if somebody else wants it, they're going to bid on it, and you're just going to end up paying and paying and paying. And we're paying now. Why do we have to pay more? This is just, I tell you, this is just another game. Just like the big time manufacturers are using a controlled inventory. They could be cranking them out, those cars, and getting them in the dealerships and loading them up with cars, and you could be making great deals at the dealership and buying a new car. But no. So you're not going there because they're stuffing it in your socks every time you go there. They're not right. And what happens? Nobody's buying any new cars. Nobody's trading in any cars. Used car dealers aren't getting any. Well, you would if the whole thing didn't ripple down to this. Greed. As far as I'm concerned, Chuck, it's greed.
Well, I wanted to piggyback on that a little bit because I had a similar article talking about new car sales. So one of the things that they're expecting for this month is that new car sales for the month of May is going to be up over 15% from last year, which is a 20% increase from 2022. So they're saying basically sales at the retail level were up 9.6% in May. And also what's interesting is, do you have any idea how much we spend on new cars in a month? If you had to guess.
America?
Yeah. How much money do we spend in the month of May, they're projecting how many. It's in the billions. I'll give you that much.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and I believe that because look at how many manufacturers there are, how many cars they're actually building, and how many dealerships there are. So yeah, there's a lot of people, and there's a whole lot of people out there. Their cars are just wearing out. Cars do wear out. I understand that. I've been in the service business all my life. I've been and I'm telling you, I've been in the dealer service, and I have my own service for the last 55 years. And I'm telling you, they wear out. But their people are keeping them until they're completely worn out before they trade them in because they have to. And with that controlled inventory, the reason their volume is up is because people are desperate.
Right.
They have cars that are no longer available. They're not fixable. They're no good.
Well, inventory is also up. They're saying it's up year over year. They're saying the days of selling way over sticker price are going down, things like that. So, but you have to. I want you to guess though. How many billions of dollars?
Okay, how many billions of dollars do Americans spend a month?
A month on new cars.
On new cars. How many billions? I'm going to say 10.
Oh, you're way low.
Really?
They're projecting that this month of May, we are going to spend $47 billion on new cars, which is the second highest month ever, second highest total ever for a month of May. The average price has gone up nearly 1%. It's gone up 0.7%. So the average price of a new car is almost $46,000, $45,800, which is again a new record.
Yes, but people are also paying over sticker for these cars.
Right. No, but so they're still paying high prices. Almost
half those cars that are getting traded in, Chuck, half of them are going to be traded in with junks. There are some good used cars out there getting traded in. People are not affected by this, but Chuck's right.
But you have to remember though. So think about this though. If people were buying that many cars, you have to assume they're getting rid of a car in the process.
Well, they have to. Yes, they're trading them in.
So that means trickle down economics here.
But that car they're trading in usually is on its last leg.
And that becomes the question: is how many people are buying? I'm not a new car guy. I'm a used car guy. My grandfather beat that into me. Never buy a new car. Buy a 2 or 3 year old car if you can find it.
If you can find
it. So you have to assume that the people that are buying new cars, hopefully, they're going to put a lot of good used cars into that market, and that's going to help loosen things up a little bit.
The people that are buying used or looking for used cars right now are going to be out of luck because there's not a lot of good ones out there,
right.
And the dealers won't keep the real bad ones.
Right,
they'll ship them. They ship them down south. They put them on a truck and send them down south.
Well, but that's my point, though, is I'm hoping that having these record new car sales will trickle down, and it will loosen. I'm just hoping for myself, of course. As you know, I'm on borrowed time.
But that $47 billion that you're talking about, how much of that is over sticker?
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
They're saying almost 1% more than last year. So basically, prices are going up 1%.
Okay, so they're still paying over sticker. That's why their volume is so big.
Right.
I mean, that's big dough. $47 billion, man.
In 1 month.
1 month we spend on cars.
New cars, just specifically.
That's
not
cars,
even used
yes.
cars.
Not even just used cars. Yeah, no used cars.
And most of that is probably financed. I doubt many people are walking in with a big bag of cash these days.
No. And therein lies a whole new argument. The financing, the F&I guy in the dealership.
Oh, he's going on a nice vacation this year.
They need to put a gun and a mask with him. Oh my God, these guys are getting big dough, and they're giving out 7, 8, 9, and 10-year mortgages.
Yeah.
On these, I call them mortgages.
It is a mortgage at that point.
They're not loans anymore; they're mortgages. My first house had a 10-year mortgage. I mean, this is crazy. You're going to keep that car for 10 years? What if it falls apart? What if it's like one of the, I can give you a few names of some cars that fall apart pretty fast. They don't make 6, 7 years, and the motor's shot, the trans is shot. There's some bad stuff going on out there. There's some bad cars being built, but there's not much you can do about it, and they're not making them recall them unless they're safety oriented. The only time you see a recall is because there's some manner of safety involved. They won't call it because they built a bad trans. They'll just hope you go out of warranty before they have to fix it. And then, of course, they'll be glad to fix it for you. And that at a cost, okay? And the average trans job now is like $4,000, maybe $5,000. It's crazy. the 9-speed transmissions by Mercedes or Daimler, the 6 and 7-speed like I got in my Ford. And you got the Nissan CVT, which has a life expectancy of about 5 years. And then it's trouble.
Okay, so keeping with our trend of new car sales, we have some pretty interesting news as far as what the fastest selling new car is for Q1 of this year.
Oh, you want me to guess?
You can, but we can wait till after the break. Either way.
All right. Well, wait till after the break. I'm gonna guess. Don't tell me till after the break. I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna say it's Jeep.
Okay, George.
It's not Jeep, is it?
I'm going to give you a hint. The guy who makes these also owns Twitter.
Oh, Jesus. The Tesla is the biggest seller.
The Tesla Model Y was the world's best-selling car in Q1 of 2023.
Wow. What does the Model Y go for?
I want to say right around 40 or 45.
See, now that's an affordable electric car.
Yeah. Well, then you have to get the charger installed and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it's an expensive project to own an electric car. If you really want an electric car, that would be the one I would buy right now. It would be a Tesla.
Okay, so the base price on a Model Y is like 46. And then you can, there's going to be a lot of upgrades from Elon. I don't think that includes autopilot. It doesn't include extended range, things like that. So you're probably,
I want the extended range probably.
In the 50 range or so.
That's fine. Then I got to put a charger in my garage. No, not with a Tesla. I'm putting it outside in the driveway. I'm not trusting that.
Let's see
but Tesla hasn't had the big fires lately. There's been no fires. They figured out what they're doing there.
If it's the fastest selling car and if there was fires, you'd be hearing about it all the time.
Exactly. And you know what? The other thing with the fires, I think a lot of that is charger related.
Right.
Because
or wiring or any number of things.
These people that want to fast charge a vehicle because they want to get going, and the fast charge, putting a big jump of voltage on lithium is not a good idea. Do it slowly and don't get it too hot. You know what I'm saying? Because lithium is very volatile. And so is cobalt, actually. I got to tell you, that surprises me that the electric car is a Q1 leader for 2023.
That's a shift. That's a shift in everything.
It is a big shift in the automotive trend. And it's a trend, it's a trend we're all gonna get there.
Right.
I guess we're all going to end up with electric, or I want to see hydrogen make a big push now.
Yeah.
And I even got a story here talking about the infrastructure for electric cars. Elon Musk built all those chargers outside in California to charge your Tesla. And that's where most of the Teslas are. But there's still a need for chargers all across the country. All along I-80 corridor, all along the 94 corridor, the 70s corridor, the 75. Mm-hmm. That's all got to get.
They're working on it.
Well, they better hurry up because people are, if they're buying it, that's the number one selling car. They're going to need to charge it. That's just how it's got to go. Trust me. Here's an example, Charles, of your government getting smart ones. Battery supplier Microvast. Lithium-ion battery supplier Microvast Holdings said it is considering all its options after the U.S. Energy Department canceled a $200 million grant following lawmakers' concerns over its alleged links to China. I don't know I don't know if that's right, but I suppose they did it, so it's got to be okay. Neither the Chinese government nor the Chinese Communist Party has any ownership in the company, nor do they control or influence company operations in any way, Microvast CEO Yang Wu said in a statement on Wednesday. The grant, which stemmed from the U.S. $1 trillion infrastructure, was to help Microvast build a plant in Tennessee. Two Republican lawmakers criticized the decision to grant funding in a letter last December to Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, saying Microvast has ties to the Chinese Communist Party that raise serious concerns about the department's ability to protect the U.S. taxpayer dollars. the whole deal with this is the Department of Energy just starts throwing money at these startups.
Right.
They just did. I hate to say it, Fisker was a classic example.
Right.
And I don't know, Fisker didn't do it this time when Fisker came around, because that business was sold. They tried to come up with a car they were over in Europe, and then they were over here and they had government backing. They had a big government loan, and not a loan, a grant. And they just before they ever made a car, they made, I shouldn't say that, they made a few, 10, 20. But they sold the company to a Chinese company. And now he's opening another vehicle, another plant here in the United States, but he's using private funding. And I hope those poor people don't get stuck for that funding, because I don't know if that guy's a shyster or what he is. I don't have an idea what's going on there.
What I wanted, as long as we're talking about electric infrastructure, I had an interesting story out of Europe. So we've talked quite a bit about, Europe's trying to push this 2035 plan, basically eliminates all internal combustion engines by 2035.
Yep.
And there's been a little bit of backlash. And obviously, remember how things work is you have multiple countries, and then they're part of the EU. And the EU has kind of gotten a little big for its britches lately.
Yes, they have.
So the first country to push back is my homeland, my ancestral homeland of Italy. They recently had an election. Their new president, she's called like a far right person and all these things, attacked by our American media, attacked her and things like that for being conservative, as they tend to do. But Italy is pushing back against the EU. So their transportation minister is saying that the EU plan, the 2035 plan, is clearly wrong and not even useful from an environmental point of view. They branded it madness that would destroy thousands of jobs. And they're basically saying their infrastructure will not be ready. They're saying what you've been saying is that, look, so this becomes the question as you talk about in the United States. We're about to hit $32 trillion in debt any day now. We somehow managed to find money to throw at these things. There are countries that don't have money to throw at things.
They don't. No, and some of those countries don't have these billions of dollars to give these entrepreneurs that are starting up, and maybe their entrepreneurs aren't connected.
Well, even in the case of
like
Italy,
ours are.
In the case of Italy, they said, "Look, we're not a manufacturer. They sold, was it Fiat to Stellantis and things like that. So we don't manufacture cars here that much anymore. But it doesn't matter. Our infrastructure will not be ready for this, and we don't want to do that." And that's essentially what, again, a sort of a logical reaction is, look, we're not going to be ready for 2035. We're not going to have the infrastructure, the electric grid, anything.
Well, we did this story last week about 47% of the dealers out there in America don't want electric cars. They don't want to sell them. They don't want to bother. They don't want to go with the investment to build an infrastructure in their own coordinate to house electric cars, charge electric cars, repair electric cars. They don't want to do that. It's up to them. I mean, it's still a free country. We're still, you start your business, you do what you want to do. I would like to see at least one alternative, one chance for people that don't. Electric cars are not going to be for everybody, and I don't care how far we go with the research on them. They're not going to be for everybody.